touchdown. Gano kicks to Jordan Calvin. Fake the reverse. Calvin got stuck. Lorenzo Alexander hits him. And the Redskins are showing some signs of life the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Boy, I'll say. Wow. Watch this.
Lorenzo Alexander. This guy's a success story. He came here as an offensive lineman. Look at that contact. He can play linebacker. He can play defensive tackle. This is a gifted athlete, and obviously he can play special teams.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Joe, also known as JC Production on YouTube. Today I got an amazing and wonderfully talented guest. What is your name, sir?
How you doing, brother? My name is Lorenzo Alexander. Played 15 years in NFL and currently retired and living out here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Nice, Mr. Alexander. I got a couple of questions for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries at all.
Okay. So what are you doing during these times of quarantine?
Mainly, I have 3 kids at home, and so mainly been, teaching them when they were at school or at home from school when school was out. Been coaching them in football and then just doing a lot of community work, and then also working on my broadcasting career as I've been doing a couple of different outlets, the stadium, as well as doing some post game for the Washington football team and radio here locally in Arizona. So it's been crazy times, but I've been extremely busy during my transition away from playing, football during this time of year.
Nice. It's really cool. I just been spending time with the family, been doing these podcasts, doing the best I can.
Nice.
I like to say family first because that's why I like to live by, family first.
No, that sounds good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, what made you want to become a football player, and who was your biggest inspiration for football?
Growing up, my uncle Steve was a high school football coach, and so he used to always take me around to practices, games. I was a ball boy, but even when I was a ball boy, I was a kid that was kind of running off and playing football on the side with the other kids that were out there at the games and stuff. So that's probably when I first fell in love with the sport. And then he was a huge 49ers fan. And so we used to always watch games together and things of that nature. And so he probably was my biggest inspiration and influence growing up. He really kind of stepped in the place of my dad, who wasn't around during that time, and really showed me, the love and care I needed and introduced me to the sport. And then also taught me a ton of life lessons that, I still hold valuable today that I'm now teaching to my kids.
Oh, I like that. It's really cool. And I think you were a very, amazing and talented football player, Mr. Oaks.
No, I appreciate that, brother. That means a lot.
No problem. And I like the work you do with the community, like with the how you always like help to give back. Like you give back to your hometown. I like that motto. Like how you like come back to your hometown once you become
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's what it's all about. Just impacting and paying it forward, because nobody made it to any, level of success, on their own. It was parents, teachers, coaches, friends, the community that you came out of, and just so many people that played a part in all of our lives, especially mine. And so, I felt that it was almost my duty to give back, out of an appreciation for those individuals, and that's why I serve in my hometown of Oakland, but then also the communities that I played in and lived in throughout my career, because I thought it was just as important, because those communities supported me just as much.
I like that. Like you like to give back. That's really nice, Mr. Alexander. I like that.
Thanks.
No problem. Okay. Now, who is your favorite and least favorite team growing up, and who's your favorite player growing up?
Wow. Well, I was a huge 49er fan growing up. Grew up in Oakland. The Raiders were down in LA, and my uncle, like I said before, was a huge football fan, and so he was a Niners fan, so I became a Niners fan. And my most hated team probably had to be the Dallas Cowboys, which I think gave a little foreshadowing, because I ended up playing for the Washington football team too, and that was a big time heated rival when I was there in that organization. Couldn't stand them. They was America's team, but but I never could comprehend you liking a team and not being from that city or that community. I couldn't wrap my mind around it. I still have a hard time of doing it, unless you were, like myself. I've traveled around. My kids grew up in different, like Buffalo, for example. I spent 4 years there. My kids really got ingrained in that community. They knew the organization. And so they still may be Buffalo Bills fans, and that's a reason. But I used to always ask Dallas Cowboys fans, hey, are you from Dallas? Have you ever been to Dallas? To be like, nope. And I just couldn't get down with that. But
Yeah.
And then my favorite person, I used to love Deion Sanders, and I think it was his ability to play a multitude of sports. Obviously track, football, and baseball, and do it at a high level. And then I liked his swag about him, his confidence. He'll tell you how good he was. He'll go out there and then back it up. And so, I think I kind of adopted, on a much lower scale, his kind of a moxie and attitude, and then also, playing different positions in football, not really having a position, but, just being very fluid and flexible with my skill set, kind of imitated him a little bit as far as what he was able to do, across different sports.
It's really cool. I could see like a little Deion in you. I could see it. Got the Deion.
Thanks.
And then you said, did you like, the 49ers, so you like the Joe Montana, Jerry Rice era, I take it?
Yeah, so that's about right. So, I mean, I'm kind of at the end of the Montana era and got a lot of Steve Young and a lot of Jeff Garcia, which I really remember watching and playing. Montana I was maybe like 5. When I really remember Montana, he was in the Kansas City by that time. But obviously Jerry Rice, John Taylor, Dana Stubblefield, Brian Young, all those great running backs that they had, Roger Craig, Ricky Waters. They just had a lot of great talent, Merton Hanks, and so they just had really good teams in the late 80s, early 90s. There was a lot of winning going on, and just really liked and it was a different game of football because it was still free agency, wasn't quite there yet, and it had just started when I started following. So those teams stayed together for a long time. So it was really cool to kind of just watch those teams grow, have great success together, much like what Buffalo did, with their time in the late 80s, early 90s as well, going to 4 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I like that. Okay. Now, what was your pregame snack, drink, song, and ritual, if you had any of that?
Yeah, I had a very strict kind of pregame kind of routine that I kind of adhered to. So, I would wake up at the same time. I would drive the same way to games for home games. I would have the same, breakfast when it came to, I had this paleo waffle and an omelet and sausage and my cup of coffee. I actually have a cup of coffee on the way over from the game. And I even used to sometimes ride with the same people. Like when I was in Washington, I used to always ride with London Fletcher. We would drive out to the hotel and then drive to the game together. In 2016 in Buffalo, I used to always ride with Leger Douzable to the games, whether if I was driving, he was driving. So I used to always have a buddy at some point, and then I had my routine. And then like my last couple of years in Buffalo, Jason Osbart, who was like our training staff, he was part of our strength stretch staff, and we became really great buddies. And so we would ride to the games together, to the airports. And so that became a kind of a ritual in that sense. But had the same breakfast as I mentioned. And then I just had this, I would get to the stadium super early, like 4 hours, especially the older I got, just so I had time to myself, nobody else in the locker room, so I can kind of go through the process and not have to be, impeding anybody or anybody in my way, get taped, get the treatment I needed, go through my whole workout, my pre-workout routine as far as activating and stretching and then going out to the stadium and coming back in, and used to take some supplements and just get ready. And then I probably right before the game would by the end I would do like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like right before, as well as at halftime I probably would do like a half sandwich just to kind of keep the juices flowing and making sure I was ready to go out there and rock. And as far as music, I really got into it's a group, and it's really a Christian genre of hip hop artists. Lecrae, Andy Mineo, who else is on the Andy Mineo, Trip Lee, Derek Minor. I mean, there's just a ton of artists kind of in that genre that has really grown, and they put some excellent music together, and it's just really cool. Bizzle's another guy in that group that I really enjoy listening to.
I like that. Oh, I like how, like you said, like you like to be alone, like it's like go to be alone, like to like get like focused, and like I get what you mean.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought that was always just to kind of get in the zone, just clear my mind, and kind of go through any checks or and just really kind of be into my body to see, okay, what do I need today to go out there and be great. So a lot of prayer and all that happened during that time as well.
I like that. Really like that. God first too.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay. Now, for the fans at home, why is your nickname One Man Gang? For the fans.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned it earlier. Having the ability to play multiple positions. I had a couple of teammates back when I was in Washington, and this was before I even had a chance to play or do anything really. I was on the practice squad, and when you're on the practice squad, you have to give a look for the starting offense, starting defense, starting special teams of the opponent that we're going to play that week. And so early in my career, and they don't really do this too much, but I would never leave the field. I mean, I literally played all the offensive look, defensive look, and special teams looks. I never left the practice field, rarely at all. I can't remember a time, especially when Coach Gibbs, Joe Gibbs, was there. And so out of that kind of birthed this role for myself, or niche per se, of being able to be a jack of all trades, and I, the saying goes, jack of all trades, master of none. I call it jack of all trades, master of some, because eventually I was able to master special teams and become a solid outside linebacker. And as far as rushing the passer, but, in 2007, in one game, I played guard, I played tight end, I played D-tackle, defensive end, I played some special teams. And so a couple of my friends, Sean Springs and Fred Smoot, really Fred Smoot was laughing and joking. Those two guys were clowns on the team and just being funny. And it's like, so man, you could play a whole game by yourself, man. You don't need nobody else. You the one man gang. And so it was birthed out of that. And so from that, I was like, oh man, I like that one man gang. And so I just took it and ran with it. And so it was definitely given to me. I didn't self-proclaim myself the one man gang.
That's really cool. Yeah, maybe I'll put Lorenzo one man gang Alexander.
Yeah.
I like that. Wow, awesome. Okay. Now, do you have a favorite band or artist and type of music? Your favorite?
Yeah, I think it goes kind of go back to my pregame. That genre of hip hop, Christian R&B, just where you can really hear the love of Jesus, coming out in people's music. And it's not necessarily just about that. It's also about telling the truth of the world. I grew up in a low income area, predominantly African American, in our culture for a long time, especially in some of the hip hop music. Like selling drugs and womanizing, all that type of stuff is kind of glorified in a lot of ways. And I think as you get older, as you mature, as you start your family, you have a wife, you have kids, you have, a daughter. Like, I don't want my daughter. I don't want my wife. I don't. You don't want to treat your wife like that. You don't want to treat your daughter like that, right? And so, even though I still love a lot of those artists that I grew up on, it didn't make sense for me to continue to listen to that where I was at a different part of my life and I wanted to do something differently and I wanted to live differently. And so I, stumbled upon a group of artists, from talking to other guys that were trying to go through that same process. And it's this whole 116 crew. And I named some of the artists earlier, Bizzle, Lecrae, Andy Mineo, Trip Lee. And it's a ton of others. And I can't think of everybody right now, but it's a ton of other people. And so, now, and a lot of these guys actually grew up in the same environments that I did or around the same age. And so they dealt with very similar situations and they give you the truth perspective from it, from a perspective of maturity. And a lot of times being on the other end of that and also seeing the guys that either were killed or ended up in jail from those instances. And so they talk about it, but they're not glorifying it. They're trying to use their, influence or their gift and their experiences to talk about those things, but then also point to Jesus as far as how we can overcome those things. And so it's a really cool dynamic as far as how they've used their gift to ultimately help guys and people just understand how to mature, and then giving them the solution is through Christ. And so that's kind of where I'm at in my musical I guess enjoyment these days. And I listen to other stuff, but that's probably my favorite thing to listen to because it's always speaking to me. It's always giving me a different way of thinking, and it's always challenging me as well.
Oh, I like that. Believe it or not, actually, I got to meet my favorite band of all time.
Oh, okay. Who was that?
Queen, like We Are the Champions, We Were Rocking.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
I met their guitarist and their drummer.
Oh, wow. That had to be a cool experience. Did you go to a concert or you just saw them at dinner? How did that happen?
Concert, actually. Concert.
Oh, nice. Cool.
I was like having like the Wayne's World moment, like I'm not really.
Yeah. Were they good people though? Real cool.
Nice people, yeah. I met I grew up on like 80s or like 70s, 80s, like older music and movies, and I grew up on that. My parents grew me up on that.
Yeah, well, that's cool. That's cool. That's good that you met them and they added up to what you thought about them too. So that's good.
Yeah. Okay. Now, do you have a favorite food, and why is it your favorite?
I'm a breakfast guy, and so it's really all things breakfast. Waffles, pancakes, eggs, sausage, and if I had to pick something to eat every single meal, it would be breakfast. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. We even do things around here from time to time. We have Brenner, which is breakfast at dinner. People think about brunch. I've created another meal that you can have breakfast at. So, I love it. I don't know necessarily why, but probably because the first thing I get to eat in the mornings, and I just really enjoy that style of food. So, and I can cook it fairly well too. So, breakfast by far.
Or if you remember, you said you got up early for football, maybe.
Yeah. It just makes it easy, and it's always easy to throw a couple of eggs on. It's convenient too in a lot of ways. So, especially as I kind of went through my transformation and trying to eat better and trying to eat right, eggs was always just an easy go-to.
Nice, I like that. Egg sounds good. That's really cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah, as soon as we get off this call, I'm gonna grab me some eggs. Actually.
Awesome. Okay. Now, do you have a favorite movie and TV show?
Oh man, I love going to the movies, and there's so many. But the one that kind of always just comes to the top, and it's probably, and I say this one because I know a lot of people won't say it. It's like Lucky Number 11. Really love that movie. Really good movie. Don't ask me the actors in it. I'm not great at that, but the premise behind the movie that have you ever seen it?
Lucky Number 7, you said?
11, yeah. So a young dude, dad is killed by the mob, and then like years later he comes back like as kind of like an undercover premise to be a part of that mob boss that killed his dad, and they're like in the horses and all that, and by the end of the movie he gets revenge on the guys. But I didn't give it justice, but it's really good because you don't even realize what's going on until it's happening at the end of the movie.
Wow.
So I Lucky Number 11 is definitely worth the watch. You won't be disappointed in that. And then what was the other part of that question?
TV show? Do you have a favorite TV
show? I kind of binge watch a whole bunch of things. I'm really into right now. I'm into all the DC stuff on the CW, and so I'm watching Legends of Tomorrow currently.
Hey.
So I did the Flash, yeah. So I like all that type of stuff as well. So I'm kind of watching. I'm going through trying to catch up and watch all the series together.
Believe it or not, like you said you watched The Flash. Do you remember Tom Cavanaugh, Harrison Wells, the character? I met that guy.
Did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yes, that has to be weird when you watch somebody on TV and then you actually see him in person.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Because
you think they're that actual person.
Yeah, you're like, oh my god, you're so, like, you actually say the character and you're like, you're so and so.
Right.
Yeah, believe it or not, like besides like athletes, I've had actually actors and actresses on the podcast.
Oh, cool.
So yeah. Like I've had on. Do you remember? Like you said, The Flash. Do you remember Zoom? Like the voices, like Ron, the voice, the guy, Tony Todd. I've had him on the podcast.
Okay, nice. That's good.
Yeah. Maybe you'll like recognize names. Like if I show you, like, oh, okay, I know that show. Like, oh, that's an awesome show.
Yeah, I know the names. Like I'm not good at actors and actresses' names, but if you like tell me the show that they're in, or like you said, the voice of, I'm pretty good of kind of recalling and putting their face to that name.
Yeah, that's like me, like remembering faces, but not like.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if you never like did football, like what would your career be, and what other hobbies do you have?
Man, I really don't know what I would have been. I know initially I went to Cal to be an engineer, which quickly changed to becoming a lawyer. But I don't know what I would have done if football wouldn't have worked out. It would have been something in that realm, of serving people. Though I'm actually going back to get my my master's later next year. Hopefully, I'm waiting on to see if I got in or not. I applied to Cal's grad program for social welfare in sports. Just as I continue to coach and continue to impact young student athletes, just want to be able to provide some real practical, but also academic programming and initiatives to really help deal with their trauma or lack of resources. And just that, kind of help them develop into the people that they've been meant to be. Being part of that process. And so I probably would have eventually kind of gotten to that. I don't know how I would have got there, but I think I would have probably ended up in the same place, just with a different path and the different experiences if football wouldn't have worked out. As far as hobbies, I love bowling. I need to get back into golf, but I like playing golf. Board games. I do a ton of stuff. I have an old school Mustang that I really enjoy, a 1966 Mustang. Nice. So yeah, those are a couple of things that I kind of do. I like cycling. Wow. So yeah, it was about 4 or 5 things that I'm really into, and outside of what I do. And then I really again, it's not really a hobby, but I just really enjoy coaching. In my pastime with the kids, getting out there, doing clinics with their friends, and just really trying to help develop young athletes in the best possible way.
Do you like video games? Do you play video games or?
I used to play a lot of video games, but once I had kids, my wife isn't a gamer, so that faded fairly quickly. My kids have gotten back into it, but I haven't regained that passion about it quite yet, as far as getting over there and trying to play with them. But at one point in time, yeah, you could have called me a gamer.
Mhm. So you Xbox or PlayStation then? Since
I'm a PlayStation. Yeah, I kind of
Yes.
went that route. I went from Nintendo to Genesis.
Nintendo.
Sega, yeah, that's kind of my trajectory, because when Nintendo came out, the Genesis came out. Some people went to Super Nintendo. If you went Super Nintendo, from my recollection, most people ended up on the Xbox side. If you went Genesis, you ended up in the PlayStation kind of realm.
Yeah.
That's just, I'm kind of aging myself. So, but that's, when the video games really started coming out. That was kind of the lineage of guys as far as which one you ended up with. Now it's, probably a little different, obviously, because those games are already out, but that's how it started.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm a PlayStation guy myself. So when you said
Yeah.
PlayStation, yes.
Yep.
Oh,
So,
you know
yeah, that
what's
was, yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. How did it feel to be selected to go to the Pro Bowl with both Washington as like an alternate in 2012 and like a special teamer in 2013, and then Buffalo as a star in 2017? And how did it feel to win Pro Bowl defensive MVP? How did all that feel?
It was great. It was kind of, in some ways, a validation of my career. I was undrafted, and you try to work so hard to really gain the respect of your peers. And that they don't really have a huge impact on Pro Bowl, but they do have to vote for you, and so it was kind of cool to be recognized in that way. Um, and then winning the Pro Bowl MVP was really dope, because I got a car out of it. I got a 2017 Genesis that I still have and love the car, and so that was really cool too. And again, that was like validating me as a position player, because even though special teams is great, and I would say special teams players should get into the Hall of Fame, but they don't, unless you're a punter or a kicker, and maybe some of these returners may start getting in. But there's like a core group of guys like a Steve Tasker, Brian Mitchell, Matthew Slater, who's currently playing. There's a ton of guys like that probably should be, but that never will be. But so, also being recognized as a position player too, going as a backer for what I was able to do that in 2016 was really validating as well, and was like, man, it was just a cool story as far as being a special teamer, going, getting hurt, kind of falling off, and then, kind of reemerging out of an injury and being able to play at that level. It was nothing but God. And so it was really cool to be a part of that process.
How did it feel to be like the Buffalo Bills' like Walter Payton Man of the Year like nominee for 3 times there? How did that feel? Like,
Yeah, that was really cool too. That was probably the best feeling, because you actually, your locker room votes for that guy. And so again, it's just reassuring that what I'm talking about, that I'm also doing. I'm not just talking, but doing. I think sometimes you can kind of fall into that. And it wasn't just about me giving money. It was also about supporting my teammates or being there myself. And then it wasn't just about me either. It was also about supporting my teammates and the things that they were doing in the community. And so, because we had a ton of guys in there that could have easily been nominated as well. And for them to recognize me was really cool. But again, it was, it's all about the community and trying to make everybody else or trying to serve everyone in that process.
I like how like you like are a very nice and cool community guy, like a community leader. I really like that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I mean, that's why we have a platform. You have to be able to leverage that and speak for the voiceless and serve those that can't serve themselves. Because again, I lived that life. I was one of those kids at one point in time. And so now utilizing, those relationships and partnerships and resources to close the gap or to spark one kid's like interest in something. That's where your real legacy is at. It's not what I did on the football field or how much money I have or a house. It's really about the lives that you impact, really starting at home first with your wife and your kids, but then also the community.
Yeah. How you impact others. I like that, Mr. Alexander. I like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Be like Zoe because he's very selfless and works tirelessly in the Buffalo community. Lorenzo is very selfless. I've had the pleasure of working with him in various capacities, and he doesn't do it necessarily for the likes. It's just all about him being a great guy, just wanting to do good, nice, fun things for the kids and giving them an opportunity that they possibly wouldn't otherwise have. Every community should have a Zoe.
Be like Zoe because he's an inspiration. Lorenzo is an inspiration because of what he's able to do out in the community, tutoring kids, mentoring kids, and just being a positive role model. Trust me, you want to be like Zoe.
Be like Zoe because he gets back to the community. Lorenzo is a good inspiration when he showed me how you got to do your work. It's just not about talent. It's a lot of motivation, like somebody that made it to the NFL, like watching us kids, like I feel like I'm important. Trust me, you got to be like Zoe.
Be like Zoe because he's making space for young people to interact with new career opportunities that they wouldn't have access to otherwise. Trust me, be like Zoe and give back to your community.
Be like Zoe because he's a role model. Lorenzo is someone I look up to because he takes care of kids. I truly believe Lorenzo cares about me and our teammates, about our success on and off the field because he caters to us. Believe me, be like Zoe.
Mr. Lorenzo is very compassionate when it comes to the youth, and it's that glow that Mr. Lorenzo saw in me. That's why I honestly plan on going to Berkeley.
Be like Zoe because he's a regular guy with an extraordinary heart. Lorenzo is genuine because he has a servant's heart and he truly has found his life's passion, and that is to serve others. I should know. Be like Zoe.
Be like Zoe because he's a phenomenal father. Lorenzo is a great dad because he's very involved with all my activities, because he comes to my soccer games even when it's a tight fit. He's my dad, so be like Zoe.
Be like Zoe because Zoe is a tremendous leader of men. Trust me, you want a Zoe in your community, in your locker room, and on your football team.
Be like Zoe because he is a hard-working, determined, generous person on and off the field. We should all strive to be a positive role model like Zoe.
Be 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 like Zoe.
Okay. Now, how did it feel to be ranked 91st for the top 100 players of 2017? How did that feel?
That was cool too. To be ranked that high. Thought I should have been higher, but it's all good. But it's just part of the process. It was cool though. Again, that was that's something that the league does, and to be recognized and to have people kind of say, "Oh yeah, you should be up there, you should be higher, you should be lower," to kind of create that buzz around your name and stuff is kind of cool to see, and again, it's just a validation for the hard work that you put in and what you do throughout that particular season.
I like that. I think you should rank higher too. Like you're really good.
The old man. Like Lorenzo, I love Lorenzo. He gonna get me for calling him old though.
How many years is this for you?
12.
That's all.
Yeah.
14 for me, so
okay,
I've seen
yeah.
a long time.
Yep.
You're blessed, man.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Lorenzo Alexander came to Buffalo to play a backup role on the defense. But when a larger opportunity presented itself, the veteran linebacker took center stage.
Training camp when Shaq got hurt. So for him, he just stepped in.
It's a lot different when you actually get the opportunity consistently to actually make plays. And I think when he finally got his opportunity to make plays, he went out there and took advantage of that.
Alexander, go get a sack. Go get a sack. Go get a sack.
Back to throw. Pressure's ball comes out of his hand.
What a story he is at 33 years of age, playing his best football in the twilight of his career.
In his 12th season, Alexander recorded 12.5 sacks, tied for third most in the NFL.
It looks like he's back in his prime. Whatever he did this offseason, I need to find out because he was balling this past year.
But then when he sat back, I'm killing it.
He's one of those guys, he's like a lunch bell guy. That blue-collar appeal to coming to work. He's going to outwork you every single play.
Alexander had his work cut out for him when he faced off against top 100 staple and 7-time All-Pro Joe Thomas.
When you face the best, I know I'm not going to get that many opportunities of him making a mistake for me to get to the quarterback. Against a guy like that, it may be once a game.
He's got the snap, back in the pocket, steps up, Still looking, now running out of time. He's in heavy traffic, and he got sacked.
How about Lorenzo Alexander right here, working on Joe Thomas? How about playing in the fourth quarter as hard as you could possibly play?
It was more of just trying to push him back, work his inside edge as far as the bull. You got to work to get in there. He's not going to just give it to you.
Just working. He's just one of those relentless rushers that you just can't afford to kind of ease up a little bit, because if you ease up, you're going to find a way to make a play.
The veteran's hard work on the field has paid off. A new contract has him sticking around in Buffalo for the next 2 seasons.
Okay. Now, what advice would you give younger people or people that want to go in the NFL, like be a football person?
Wow. I mean, it's so much, but I think fundamentally, you have, and this is really in anything that you decide to do, and there's a ton of sayings, but one of the biggest things is you have to earn it daily, right? You have to, every day you wake up, you have goals you set before yourself, right? You have big goals. I want to play in the NFL. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a veterinarian, whatever that may be. I want to be a journalist, right? And you have to earn it daily. You have to set up daily goals, daily activities, habits, create habits that's going to allow you to achieve those things. You can't say you want to be a doctor, but then don't go to school, right? You have to do things. You have to go to school. You may not enjoy it. You may not enjoy every single class you take. You may not enjoy running sprints until you're, feel like you're going to throw up, but that's part of the process. So you have to earn it daily. You have to do things that you may not necessarily like. And then I would also say, then you have to find people that are like-minded, that want to do that, and then also mentors to help you along that path, right? So I would say define your goals, create daily habits, and then find people that you can go along the journey with. And because you're going to need somebody at every single stage to kind of help you maximize your potential, and you'll be helping them as well. And so those are probably the 3 things. And that's really in anything that you want to do in life. If you take, those kind of like basic principles, and yet there's a lot of auxiliary things around that, but if you take those foundational principles, you'll be able to achieve whatever you want to, because obviously you're setting your mind towards something, and so you're going to put yourself in position to become successful and to fall into where you want to be by just working hard and going after it, fighting through adversity, doing things and going through things that you don't want to go through. And then anytime you partner yourself with great people, just good things come from that, because that's just how we're built. We're built to be in relationship.
I like that. And then if you don't mind, if I can add to that, maybe give back to your community like you did,
Yeah, right. That's kind of the, and you don't even have to wait to do that, but you can do that at any part in your life, wherever you're at, whether you are, serving at your local church, going down and find an organization in your neighborhood about something that you're passionate about. Maybe you, for example, for yourself, you're 19, maybe you could be a big brother, for a kid, with the Boys and Girls Club. Just things like that are very easy to do. That don't take any money. You don't need money, but just it's time. And that's probably more valuable than anything you can ever give to somebody. It's yourself and your experiences, your wisdom, and making them feel great about themselves, encouraging them, helping them become the person that they ought to be.
I like that. And then, believe it or not, I did these podcast interviews during the start of quarantine. I did them to leave a positive impact, make sure people are feeling happy and positive during these tough times.
Right.
That's what
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you. Okay. Now that you're retired and not playing, is there anything you want to do, be a coach, scout, GM?
Yeah, I probably more. I don't want to do a coach or a GM or scout on the NFL level. If that comes later in life, maybe. But because it's such a time demanding job, and I have 3 little kids at the house. I have an older daughter too, but she's she just graduated from graduate school, so not as important as far as timepiece. But with our little kids, 12, 10, and 6, being a GM, you're gone probably more than you are as a player, and it's more year round. And so for me, if I do any of those type of things, coaching, it'd be on the local level, be with my kids, right? Getting into some broadcasting, and that's really to just kind of maintain a lot of those relationships so we can impact the community. Because as you do transition away from playing football, just the natural aspect of it, some of that glitz and glamour that the NFL, that you get from attaching yourself to the NFL fades away. So staying in the public's eye as far as talking on the radio or doing some media stuff still allows me to have that platform to kind of get my message out there, to bring people together, to really impact the community. And so that's probably the main reason why I'm doing that. And then there's a couple of other things out there that I'm just trying to kind of sort through and try to figure out right now.
I like that. Okay. Is there anything you would like to promote and shout out? I can link down below. Anything you want to promote?
Just the foundation, Lorenzo Alexander Aces Foundation. You can go to lorenzoalexander.org, and we're constantly, having fundraisers, giveaways. We're doing different initiatives in different cities, whether it's Oakland, Arizona, or even Buffalo. Have a great relationship there. And coming up in the I guess it'd be winter still, in February, we are going to be having a virtual seminar series about creating and developing a business and then leveraging it to create policy change in your community as a small business owner. And so we'll be working with primarily high school students for that. So, if you're interested in any of those type of things, and you have a young man or young lady that's wants to think about starting a business, I think that would be a great opportunity to get involved and get them involved and learn a little bit. So that's our next big thing that we have coming up.
Yeah, I'll link your foundation, and then you probably have Twitter and Instagram, I'm assuming?
Yeah, Twitter is Aces Foundation. Instagram is Aces_Foundation. My personal one is at One Man Gang 97. And then on Instagram is Lorenzo_John.
Yeah, I'll link all those. I'll say check out all these amazing links. I'll do that. Well, I thank you all so much for watching. Thank you again, Mr. Alexander Zoe, for being an awesome and amazing guest. Thank you.
Appreciate you, brother.
No problem. Have a great day, everybody, and stay awesome, Mr. Alexander.
You too, bro.
For every challenge he faces, Bills linebacker Lorenzo Alexander finds the strength to overcome obstacles in a way that is unmatched. 5 NFL teams, 149 NFL games, and hundreds of community service events since entering the league, Zoe has found a way to turn fans into family.
Everything that I do, I like to put all my energy and effort into it, whether it's hanging out with you guys, playing with you, playing football on Sundays.
Hit hard and dropped. Whoa! Oh, baby, what a hit by Lorenzo Alexander.
Y'all see it? The way I live life, I like to do it all at 100% because you never want to look back in life and have regrets.
Raised by a single mother and tempted by negative decisions throughout his life, he is on a mission to change the lives of young men and women who seek direction from a positive influencer. Sorry, I just need to wipe my eye.
I had so many people invest themselves, whether it was time, money, words, into my upbringing. No matter if I was a teacher, lawyer, or now I happen to be an NFL player, I think I would have eventually probably reached that same end goal as one to serve the community that I was living in.
Whether you're doing books, playing ball, you control your energy and the effort you give it to it, all right? I mean, I think the best part is just paying it forward and giving them some wisdom or insight or some hope as far as what their future can be. So I just like to be a part of that process. Once you become successful, because all you guys are going to do that, go to college, get a great job, come back to your hometown or wherever you're from and community and always give back, okay? You guys can promise me that? All right, cool.
So this is the Bills nomination for the Walter Payton Man of the Year. Since joining the Bills in 2016, Lorenzo Alexander has achieved a number of career milestones. He set a career high in sacks with 12.5 in 2016.
Alexander dancing around. Here they come. The snap. He's in trouble. He is dropped. It is Lorenzo Alexander who dropped him.
Yeah! Get off the field!
I went to the Rams game in LA, and he had 3 sacks in that one game. And after I said, what are you doing differently? And he was like, I'm not doing anything differently. I'm just out on the field, like I'm getting the opportunity. And that's all it was. He just needed to be out there.
It really kind of, I think, shocked a lot of people because a lot of people had never known me in that aspect of that role.
It's amazing for someone to be 12 plus years in the league and still have that kind of drive to still want to do it, and the drive to want to do more, which I think is huge, which I think a lot of us are learning from. And then when you see him and Manjanique, their kids, and you just see how lovely of a family he has. For me, I'm starting a family of my own, you know, it's almost a great role model.
I've really loved being a dad. I mean, I have 4 babies, you know, one that's in college and one that's 3. I went to Mason's class last year and read to him and his classmates. Hello, how you doing? Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Everybody doing good today?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Do you guys wrestle? Yes.
Yep, wrestle all the time. And then he has a little brother too that gets into the fun.
Yeah, but he
Miles.
always cries.
Oh, does he?
Yes.
Or do you cry?
He cries.
Oh, okay, okay. That's probably the hardest thing when you're in season because your sons, they want to wrestle. And I'm like, man, I just finished playing the game. It's been a real joy and a lot of fun, and just look forward to seeing them continue to grow and continue to learn things and figure things out. That's probably the best thing when that's what he meant.
The 2017 NFL season has been characterized by what many consider polarizing decisions. Alexander did not shy away in times of adversity, but instead used his platform to bring constructive conversation. He currently mentors a local inner-city high school football team about making good decisions on and off the field.
I'm gonna give y'all my phone number. We can FaceTime, you know, play Madden or whatever over the summer.
What about this summer? Can we do something?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, over the summer.
The ride down here went smooth and all that?
Yep.
All right, cool.
You can get us colored visors.
Colored visors? See, man, now y'all going to another level now. See, when school start up, I'll be coming back up there to holler at you cats and stuff, all right?
Yeah, they came out to training camp. I was able to make it out to one of their games this year and then went over to practice a couple of times to speak to them as well. Just being able to mentor them, show up, talk to them, they know who I am, come out, support them, go to a couple of their games. I think that means a lot more as far as when you want to speak some wisdom into their lives. I remember being in high school and being silly, doing all the crazy stuff, but at the same time, we got to be able to differentiate between what's silly and having fun or that real life stuff. Now, they have some type of trust factor, some type of experience with you, and understand that you're trying to help them versus just being this outsider coming in and speaking at them. You're speaking, you know, to them because they can relate to you.
When there's a time in need, there's a time for us to kind of step up, and that's what he's always been doing. And when you have someone on your team who's always doing that, you really start to notice and start to see how great of a person they are.
He's done this for 13 years. He has served the community wherever it is that we are. It really is his passion in life, and I realized that on one of our first dates because he constantly was asking how, you know, what would you do? How would you help me if we could, you know, give back?
We really want to be a part of something that really changes cities that we come from as well as here in Buffalo.
For the incredible contributions he has made to the community, his leadership within the Bills organization, and for the overall selfless man that he is, the Buffalo Bills are proud to nominate Lorenzo Alexander for the 2017 Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. Congrats. I mean, I know him. I already know all this. So, I mean, it's cool when other people see it, but I see it every day. I know who he is. He's pretty awesome.